Hi guys. Thank you so much for joining me in my session about Maven Taming the Beast. Quick note, my name is Roberto Cortez. I work for a company named Tommy Tribe. I run my own blog on robertocortez.com. Also do some small videos on YouTube about some Java things. So have a look at those details and please use them to contact me if you have any questions or doubts, or come to me at the end. I'll be happy to talk to you. So we don't have much time. So I'm going to start with a very, very obvious question that I heard a lot. Do you guys hate Maven? Who hates Maven? Come on, we are like in a friendly environment over here. You can say it. Hate Maven? Come on. Okay, now we have a couple of more hands raising up. So for people that hate Maven, can you tell me the reasons why you hate Maven? Come on, speak up. No reasons at all. So you hate Maven, but you don't know why. Download stuff every time. More. XML. More.
Why is that thing on my class path?
More.
Why isn't that?
Yeah, more.
Why is my plugin not working?
Yeah, more. Okay, I'll give you a hand. So it's XML. It's complex. It's verbose, right? It's hard to extend. Every time you need to do something, you have to write like this huge plugin or huge XML file to do just a simple thing to copy file, right? It's a very hard learning curve. It's slow, right? It's unreliable. You don't even know what you're gonna do when you write mvn clean install. Sometimes you have different behaviors on different days, right? It's mine on their own. Anyway, you have something that people seems to hate, but actually is very popular. It's kind of like a paradox over here, right? Anyway, this probably graph. It's not really updated. I'll have to find some more updated one. But as you can see here, in 2013, 71% of developers were using Maven, and they were not using Ant so much, and they're now starting to use Gradle a little bit. Anyway, why did I want to do this session and talk to you about this? And I think that the reason why so many of you are here is one of the reasons I want to make this session. Is Maven is actually something that's around for more than 10 years. It has a lot of development on top of it, and it's something that's a part of our natural life as a developer. Most people already built something Maven, right? Who here hasn't used Maven before? Okay, well, one people, 2, 3, okay. And all developers run into problems most of the times. So me as a team lead or a technical manager, I was managing teams that were using Maven, and every time I had a junior engineer coming in or switching teams, they will have to relearn everything again, or they have to learn all the particularities of Maven, all the problems that you usually run with. So my idea with this session was to go through over a couple of usual Maven problems and try to explain them so people don't run them on them every time. So for me, you have to learn how to play with Maven. I'll explain some of the most common pitfalls, some of the ones that were referred here. So why is this thing on my class path, or is it unreliable? And I'll tell you how you can figure them out and how you can debug them as well, and how to fix them, hopefully. Anyway, the first thing I'll talk about is why is the jar in my build? Does anyone have any idea why some jars comes into our builds? No? Well, Maven has something called transitive dependencies. It means that when you include a dependency in your project, you're not only including that dependency itself, but the dependencies of that dependency has, plus dependencies of that dependencies has, and so on. Sometimes you get like include a dependency of something, and you end up with a WAR file with 50 meg or 100 meg, right? So basically, you include this dependency, you get these, then you get these, and you get these, and these can go on forever. So this sometimes is a pain because those dependencies might include stuff that's already on your class path, and then you run into class loading issues, and it's a pain. So how do you figure this out, and how you can debug it? You can use a Maven plugin called dependency. So most of this stuff is around dependency plugin that exists. And you can just call it like MVN dependency analyze, and it will give you a list of dependencies that are in your project, and you can see which ones are in use, which ones are not. The plugin is smart enough to know if you're actually including dependencies not being used in the code itself. But if the dependency is on runtime, well, that's a different story. But it's pretty useful to know what you're actually doing. The dependency plugin also allows you to see the dependencies are not being needed, so you can remove those from the project. You can even exclude them when you're including dependency on your project. So just do the dependency and then just do a text with exclude, and you can take them out of your class path. So that will help you to reduce class loading issues, or just use a different version of dependency that's being included on your project. So these sometimes have some trial and errors involved to figure out which dependencies you should be using. Now, sometimes I cannot see my changes. And why? Well, sometimes I'm building dependencies that are not in my local repo. So who is here familiar with the local repo? Guess people that use Maven most of the time are familiar with the local repo. But some weird things can happen when you have this way of working. Let's just say we have this example. So I have a dependency A. I'm working on this dependency A. I make a code change, and I just do mvn clean package. So this only builds my jar file on my target folder, right? So I haven't installed my local repo. Then I'm expecting to see the changes that I made on dependency A, and I can't see them at all. That's because I have to run mvn install. So probably now you know why you have to run mvn install to actually put stuff on your local repo, so IDEs or other projects can grab the jar files to be included on your project. On the other hand, there are other things that can also happen. Is the dependency mediation mechanism. So let's just say we have a dependency called D, which is included on C and B. But dependency D version 2 is actually higher than the version 1. So I have a very quick challenge for you guys. What version of D do you think that's included on your project? Yes, sir?
Version 1, because it's higher up the tree.
Exactly. But who else knew about that? Yeah, just a couple of people. So some people actually think that Maven is going to include the version that's higher on the version side. But that's not true. Version will actually include the version that's closer on your dependency tree into your project. So in this case, since version 1 is closer on the tree branch, who wins is version 1. So if you want to fix this problem and you actually want to have version 2 included, you will have to exclude version 1 from your project. To see those kinds of things, you can do also, again, use the dependency plugin. And you can call tree as a goal, and you will see a tree of all dependencies that are being included. You can see the root level in which they are included and which version. So that's an easy way to see how the versions are being included and which one you have to exclude to actually have the ones that you want on your project. Another cool thing that's also sometimes happen is whenever you're working your own changes, if you have your CI, continuous integration, building as well your project, it might occur that when you're building your local install to doing your local build, the CI also generates a snapshot a couple of seconds later, and then basically what you're actually including is the one that was built from the CI and not the one that you're building locally. So that's something you also have to take care with. Now, we talk about jars being included, but what if the jar is actually not being included and we want it on our build? So usually this is related with dependency scopes. So who's here familiar with dependency scopes? Yeah, most of us. Awesome. So dependency scopes control how the jars are being included on the class path. Might be compile, which is the default one, means that the jar file is included both on compile time and on runtime. Can be provided, means that the jar file is going to be sitting on the server. You're going to deploy the application, and you have runtime as well, and tests, and so on. Anyway, if you use dependency list, you're able to see which scopes are being used on your project. And even if you think that a dependency is provided or compiled or whatever, it might be overridden by something on your POM on the hierarchy that you have. So dependency list will show you all the resolution that's been done until that point on all the projects that you have. So who haven't seen this message before? I call this like worst. Okay, for people that never used Maven, never seen this before, of course. I think this is actually worse than the null pointer exception in Java, because it's always happening. Anyway, there is no really a good solution for this, because it might occur because of different problems. So I'll give you a couple of causes and a couple of solutions. So maybe the dependency is not defined correctly. Maybe the remote repo doesn't contain the artifact because it was deleted. Have everyone heard about that guy that deleted no dependency and stuff stopped working for like a couple of days? So some of those things can happen. Maybe you're not using the most recent version. Jar is corrupted. Sometimes happened to me as well. I mean, just download a jar that's not really an OK jar, and it seems everything's OK, but actually it's not. So you have to like sometimes go to the local repo, see the bytes of the jar to see if actually the bytes are there. One of the problems that I had is, for some reason, there was like a Maven bug where I required authorization to connect to this repository to download the jar, but actually Maven was downloading a 0 bytes jar to my repo, and then everything seemed fine, but of course the app didn't run. So those are kind of problems that you have. Maybe the artifact is cached on an internal remote repo that you have on your company, and it's not looking into the global ones, so you have to have a look into that as well. Or maybe you're getting overridden by something before. So some of the weapons of choice to fight the beast. If you do MVN help effective POM, it will actually generate a POM with all the settings that you have on all your hierarchy of Maven, including plugins, versions, dependencies, and so on. So it's very useful to, instead of like having to look into all the hierarchy of POMs that you have when you have a multi-hierarchy POM project, you can use this to generate just a POM with everything. This is my actually personal favorite, Maven repo local, and then you can add whatever over there. So basically, who heard about, oh, it works on my machine, right? Oh, because I built this jar file and it works and I haven't committed the changes and so on. So, but I actually built it on my local, my jar is there, but it's not on my teammate. We heard all of this, right? So when I want to debug stuff like that, I will just hand over Maven this property, Maven repo local. So basically, it will just create a new directory, and it's going to take 2 hours to download. Well, no, I was being very generous. Probably like 6 hours to download pretty much everything, but then I know there was something wrong with my dependencies. I forgot to commit something or whatever. And -0 to do it offline, at least make it faster. It's awesome if you combine the Maven repo and -0. It takes like 1 second to run. It's not going to download anything. A bonus, speed up your build. Who knows that Maven can be run in parallel? Okay, a couple of people, awesome. So you can use this to actually run your build in parallel. So you can just say -t, and you say it's going to run in one thread in one core. And if you have like multiple cores, then Maven will actually build one project on each core, which is pretty awesome. So I have builds that took like half an hour before, take like 8 minutes. Awesome, right? So just give it a try. And if you use -pl and -am, you can actually choose which projects do you want to build on Maven when you have like a huge project list. If you only want to build a couple, you can just say -pl, say the model name that you want to build, and say which ones you want to use. And we're pretty much out of time. I hope that these small tips help you tame the beast. I think it helped this gentleman over here. So please let us know, please let me know if this works out for you. And thank you so much for watching and attending. Thank you.